I'm Dara Fitz and welcome to Sikhistan. Today we're going to talk briefly about what you should look for in a training partner. I know a huge amount of us became used to training at home on our own over the past couple of years, but now as we're getting back into standard training environments, the search has now resumed for good solid training partners. Before we get started, please do share the most embarrassing or funny comments about you and your training partners below and just give us all a good laugh. And with that being said, let's get into it. I've been incredibly lucky to have gotten to train with some of the greatest athletes currently training in the sport of weightlifting over the past 15 years or so. Gabriel Sincrean, Clarence Kennedy, Miso Hassano, and obviously Gerf, just to name a few. And there are certainly some things that stand out in my mind as key traits that make up the great or the ultimate training partners. The first thing I'd say is that training partners are invaluable. They allow us to make better decisions, and of course, at the right time, they can enable us to push much harder in training. But as valuable as good training partners are, they're incredibly difficult to come by, and today we're going to chat about some key aspects to make you the best training partner you can be, or to look out for in a future training partner for yourself. Number one is consistency. The most valuable trait in any training partner, undoubtedly, full stop, is consistency. Do they show up when they're due to show up? Do they train for the amount of time they said they would? Do they stick to the training session they were going to do? The last thing you want to be is stuck in a situation where you prolong warm-ups for 45 minutes or an hour as you're waiting to start squats with somebody who hasn't even left the house yet. Additionally, we become the people we hang out with. So if your training partner is constantly chopping and changing their programming, then it slowly becomes more and more acceptable for you to do the same thing. And that's not what you want. That's never what you want. You want your training partner to be as consistent as your grandmother's apple pie. The same thing every time, just as you expected it, and never ever different. That's really what we're looking for. And that's what you should be looking for in yourself if you're training with other people as well. Number two is the correct level of caution or the correct level of intelligence. So we can all do stupid things in training, right? Us more than most have hurt themselves, broken bones, torn tendons, ripped muscles, broken equipment, all in the chase of doing something faster, lifting something heavier, catching something lower. But this isn't always good. Certainly not always good. Most athletes need a training partner to act as the brake pedal. So not the accelerator. This is somebody who'll say, is that the best idea? Or are you going heavy again today? Having a sensible head on your training partner's shoulders is absolutely vital to ensuring you don't mess yourself up too badly. Now, at this point, it's important to note that you don't want to be training with some wet blanket of a human being, right? Who'll always be pulling you back on the loading or not going heavy even though they said they were going to go heavy. They should match your level of energy and drive, but it's a fine balance and one that can take some time to work itself out. So this might be something that is a bit of a push and pull for the first few months of training together, but hopefully in the long run you'll get it worked out and you're not always driving each other really hard and getting each other injured, but on the opposite side, not always holding each other back or being too cautious. Number three is a focus on long-term progression. So we're all competitive, some more than others and some only with ourselves while others may be on the world stage. But you cannot focus on being hyper-competitive with your training partners. With sensible training plans and intelligent programming, the vast majority of your programming should be done sub-maximally. And so driving each other as hard as possible when doing your standard training can actually be really inhibitory. Training partners should be willing each other to succeed so the greater group of athletes are improving at the same time, not just trying to beat each other in every single training session. Everything should be for the greater good.
What about the greater good?
The greater good.
It's great to be training with someone who you can go toe to toe with from time to time, whether that's in a max out session or during the depths of a high volume capacity phase, but we don't need that energy every day. So put those smelling salts back in your gear bags, you little psychopaths. Next is a drive to succeed themselves. Nothing ruins a good training partnership more than one person suddenly taking a step back or becoming some sort of quasi cheerleader of the group. the one who doesn't even bother putting on their weightlifting shoes during the session because they're taking it handy today. Most of the time, you just want someone who is going to be there with you during the sessions. The important thing is that they are training too. They are there to improve themselves while you're there to improve yourself. It's the shared suffering, shared pain, and hopefully the shared success is the real important thing. Some of the best sessions I've had in my life is training alongside basketball players and GAA players who were just doing their normal S&C work as I was weightlifting. The fact that you're all there for self-improvement is the most important thing. You don't all need to be doing the same thing or even the same sport. Finally, and I leave the best to last, they need to be good crack. Now, this sounds funny, right? And it's a supremely Irish thing to say, but it's true. You spend a huge amount of your time every week training. It's years of your life accumulatively, and if you're miserable, then you're just wasting those years hanging out with miserable people. Not enjoying yourself, not having fun, generally just not being in a great place. Obviously, you can still get better at your sport and you can still develop physically, but if you're training with a bunch of boring, tedious losers, it's better off if you just don't. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Please let me know if you did, and as always, we appreciate hearing about your experiences. I'll be back real soon, and as always, thanks for watching.